G'day, just a quick video about uranium and uranium miners and where we are in the current cycle. I'm going to do some Australian miners as well. So firstly, just looking at Cameco Corporation. It's got quite a big tightening here of liquidity after having a good run off from this pullback, and we can see it really topped out before dropping and us having a little bit of reflexive, couple of bites of reflective liquidity. Trying to work out where this is at the moment is interesting. If we just have a quick look here at the options, we've got really rising here in the purple, rising IV, which is really interesting. We didn't see that in the November earnings to see that so much, but here we can see there's really, it's got a flag there, and it's really, we've had quite high DPI here. This DPI started to rise before we had this bump, but the majority of that DPI is just hedging. We saw a little bit here, most of these, maybe here, this is probably more so, a little bit of buying of the underlying or accumulation, but really it's sort of just it's holding its own. They're well held stocks. If we just go and have a look at behind the market at the open interest, we can see that we've here over in the puts that we've had a reduction in them, so it is loosening. We're not right down to sort of just under 6,000 in the money in the shorter dated one, which is where the hedging would be done, which is these are being removed coming into earnings, which suggests that there's could be quite some action to the upside there. It does usually get sent around. Cameco usually does get sent around with the uranium UX futures market, the 308 market. Let's just have a quick look at URA, see what URA is suggesting. URA, if I just take us a little bit closer, just had one little bump last week, which we can see just here, and since that bump, some of that hedging has been taken off, but also there was a little bit of profit taking at the end of the week, so it's pretty well level. Little bit more holding out of the money. If we have a look, there's not there's no vast number of calls sold there. If we just have a look at URA, I know it's a more generalised stock, but we'll lead into the UX in just a moment and have a look at what it looks like in liquidity. So here we've seen a little bit of buying of the underlying here, a little bit of accumulation, but really these look, here's a nice one, this was a nice bit of accumulation, but really it's just holding the status quo. This URA is not looking anywhere near as strong as coming into its, does it have an earnings? No, it just has a dividend. But it's definitely, there's nothing in the IV there suggesting that there's going to be, the IV is tightening up. So the URA isn't showing us anything. The real movers in the market, if we switch back to the other screen, the real movers in the market have been this sort of phony thorium reactor one, the new GME of uranium stocks, each to their own, but most of these stocks can go by the wayside. The main business is in the bigger nuclear reactors, and then we've had Dominion Energy travelling along well, but you can see it's quite loose, similar to here. It's a loose period. Don't see that we're going to see much upside in that, and then it's really the didn't realise that was on. It's really the other interesting ones are in some of the Aussie stocks here. Deep Yellow, it's had a little bit of a build, but then we can see it's turned down predictive discovery, it's doing a little bit. You can see that it's just dropping into this fabulous illiquidity here, really tight, and it's sent its price up. I mean, we can see that this one here, this moment here in June, there was a little bit of tightening, and it's then tightened up a little bit more, falling away from that high into some action there in September. But this is sort of this has really jumped up wildly. The other stocks, this Canadian Next Gen Energy, come off quite loose, a loose high here. It's remaining reasonably loose, nothing that exciting in it. With this has had a good rise. It's come off. This is reactionary liquidity here, just tightening as it falls into a lower price, and then we've had a little bit of buying of the underlying, and then the prices increased, and then as it's gone, it's actually dropped back into a tighter place, and that's rising at the moment. Might see a bit of topping there. It doesn't seem to be following the general uranium stocks at the moment. Here's another one. I suppose there's always going to be a little bit of discovery of the Australian dollar in amongst those as well. So lastly, we have just a quick look at where I would go and look to try and work out. So this is the uranium futures. This is where we are. We're almost at a 0.618 pullback from the original price, which I suppose lots of you have been watching. Since its last pullback, it's probably somewhere about here. Oh, I've grabbed the wrong one. Yep, it's past that. So it's really slipping back, and there isn't a lot of interest in that market, and we can see that in the Sprott physical uranium. If we'll get in some candles here, nice way to look at it. Again, interesting. This is reactionary liquidity here. This tightening, and again it's loosening, and it's going up into a period. I can see another pullback. So unless Cameco comes out with an amazing earnings here, which it may well, it's definitely got some tightening there and some IV there. It'd be very interesting to, I think this is next week. It's the 20th of Feb. It's good earnings to play, I would have thought, and not being able to see behind the options in the Australian market, I'm more reluctant to play this, although it claims that it's going to have quite a large estimate of earnings. I suppose that's some rights to something being sold. I don't follow the Australian uranium market very closely. If any of you want to message my tweet with this YouTube in it and tell me what I'm missing, that'd be great. But again, it is tightened up. This is looking quite an aggressive chart, because I don't know anything about pallet, and I don't know whether I'd be playing it with the current positioning of the underlying. The underlying is looking pretty terrible there, and at some stage there'll be something reactional, but it's not hiding in either of these at the moment. Alright, that's a little update on the uranium market and some uranium miners, Australian uranium miners. Thank you very much.